Got it. I mean, Joshua, I mean, your experience when it comes to getting uh, people trained, right? I know you've had a lot of experience getting people
Mhm.
from non-traditional backgrounds, but how has the culture developed across the organization where people who may not have been fans have now got converted over? And again, going back to we got to spread the word, we got to show what's possible over here. How has that experience been over the course?
Yeah, it's a great question, and we're still early in this journey at Block. This is really something that has only started with a sustained energy behind it in the last, I don't know, Carrick, what, 18 months, 24 months, something like that. We're in the process of launching a new program, and I don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to steal the thunder from the people that are running the program. But the idea was basically, look, information security is not the only place. Like across IT, we need fresh talent, and we need to keep those pipelines filled. And so they opened 40 new spots, at the associate software engineer level to bring people in, and those, there's a whole educational plan that spans weeks and weeks, so they get a feel of not just the thing that's right in front of them, but an understanding of how the whole thing fits together. Everything from how we develop staff to how the different teams function, how the business operates, where the revenue comes from, all those bits and bobs. And I think that, understanding where you are and having exposure to a range of experiences so that you can find out, hey, I don't have any on the job experience. I'm going to get it, and I also have opportunities once I'm there to make different choices if I find something that fits better for me. So I think it's really, there's a lot of different angles and a lot of different ways you could approach this, but I'm pretty excited about the way Block is approaching it.
I mean, kind of going back to your question, Ashwin, after Shaylin made it through and proved to be a rock star, what do you think that has now gained and taught that manager for every future interaction with their people? I mean, certainly one of our roles as leaders is to sell even our leaders on their own people, right? On what we can do and what they can bring. And you'll find a lot of times that if you really believe in something and you can get your people to believe in it, it generally comes true, right? If you see somebody's potential, then they believe it themselves. And in this particular case, sure, Shaylin came in completely raw, but you saw she's incredible, right? And it didn't take all that long to realize that.
Right.
It's just typically you don't have somebody that comes in with as little understanding of even basic operating system basics that a general kid growing up with a computer would have. Like that's kind of scary because it's not normal.
Mm.
But that's where we have to kind of leave our legacy thinking at the door and realize that if we look for the intangibles, if we look for that drive and that passion, everything else generally falls into place.
Yeah, and I've become a huge advocate of hers. Like, hey, anybody with a 5-year nursing degree and then decides to switch over to cyber, right? And but it's so powerful, right? And it gets people. Hey, are you kidding? I said, no, she's 25. She told me that hey, this was a passion at high school to get into nursing, but then 5 years into it, she felt that it was draining too much, and she wanted to try cyber, and she did, right? And it really throws people off, like, hey, what am I doing with my life? So one of the other things, again, this was just a social event recently that this happened, and it just caught my attention because it had nothing to do with cyber at all, right? And I didn't even bring up the topic of DEI. Independently, like with three large corporations, they started saying, hey, oh my God, I'm spending hours a day doing diversity training, right? And I just was a fly on the wall listening to them. And for me, what was evident is clearly there is a top-down push, much like cybersecurity, right? You have to go through this annual compliance training, and there I could see the angst, right? I have a job to do. I have hiring challenges. I have budgetary issues, and now I'm being forced to go through diversity training, right?
Mm.
So I mean, clearly there is board level mandates, there is top down edicts coming down, but how, I mean, in my sense, at least all these three individuals, really smart people, they were not buying it, right? For them, it was a distraction, right? So how does that groundswell of the grassroots change happen when there is angst against these top down mandates?
Mm. I mean, from my perspective, there's no way to do it other than top down. But the difference between a successful push for everyone at the company and an unsuccessful push is getting people to understand why it's important. not just we have to tick a box or we're shooting for this award and we want to be, you have to tie the desired behaviors to something that drives the company forward. And so, for us, we have block behaviors, we have imperatives, and linking diversity, inclusion, and belonging into those so that they factor into everybody's goal setting, they factor into our hiring, they factor into how we manage, they factor into how we deliver product, they factor into how we interact with our customers. That is how you make it, central. And I would guess, Ashwin, as I was listening to you tell this story, I would guess that those three people don't fully understand why it's important. They feel like it's just another obligation. And so I totally get that. We see this, and we've seen it for years when people have to take their security awareness training. And for some people, I get that it is a burden because they already understand. Like, why do I understand? I'm not going to click on the thing. I promise I won't click on it. I mean, they're probably going to click on it, but still, like, we go through like everybody has to hear the same message, and every one of us is in a different place in our lives about what we know, what we understand, what we believe. So there may be people, hopefully not, but there probably are people who disagree with the message, and then there are the people, and so for them it's still an educational opportunity. Then there are the people who disagree with it because it takes away from their work, and you have to show them, no, this is part and parcel to who it is to be an associate at H&R Block, to be an associate at Wave, or wherever.
I mean, if we even simplify it further, the seatbelt is a security mechanism, right? And now that we know what seatbelts do as a culture, who's going to go out there and go race 200 miles an hour down the road without one on there? If they want to go crazy on their car, they're going to wear a seatbelt because it's a safety mechanism. I think we have to do the same thing for diversity and help people realize that this isn't just, to Josh's point, we're not checking a box. This is because it actually helps us have a better, more productive team with more productive outcomes. Yeah. And once people realize that, then it's no longer about the checking the box aspect. It's more of how do I implement it? And that's where we need to change that mindset. I think gamification does a lot to that. I mean, historically, we've done a lot of hand slapping. There's a lot of advocacy that really demonize people that look like Josh and I, in the sense that, hey, there's too much focus on that. Even now, if you go to senior level conferences in the cybersecurity realm, 99% of folks that show up look just like Josh and I. Yeah. And that's not okay, right? That's not okay. The fact that one of the LinkedIn voices that are more prominent actually called out that they were at a recent conference and there was a panel that was nothing but women. The fact they had to call that out is a problem, right? Yeah. Because in our industry, we're getting better with diversity at the lower levels, but we're struggling still to amplify them up to higher levels. Yeah. So that's where we have to move past this. Right now, security is historically it was in the same exact place. Nobody wanted to do it. Nobody wanted to take care of it. In part because, a decade ago, security was the roadblock. Security was the enemy. Security was the one stopping the business from doing anything because there was almost a pride associated with that. Then we saw DevSecOps and DevOps come around, where we're really trying to change that. And we need the same type of initiative, the same type of effort to align on DEI as well, to show that there is value to this beyond just giving other people a chance. There's more to that, right? If you're just doing it, if you hire somebody just because of their color or their background, you're doing it wrong. That's a check the box. Yeah. You need to hire people for the purpose of what they bring to your team, not because of how they look or where they came from.
Yeah, no, great conversation. Again, thanks for time, Joshua. Thanks for time, Karik, for joining me again.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you.